All right, drone video for one of the coolest properties we have ever had. This is 50 acres, surveyed property. It's got the little cabin on it. Power with the meter. Power is run to the cabin actually, and it's hooked up. There had been no cleanup done when this video was taken. We were just out there, had the drone. You'll see some equipment and trailers and stuff. That's because the guys, when they were out there working, were storing all that stuff on the property because it's the most private, most secure. It's at the very end of the road. So unfortunately, the bobcats and the trailer and stuff are not included in the sale. There's the power meter. It does have some plugins. I think there might be an RV plug-in as well. Not sure about that, but it does have some plugins. I mean, this was set up to be used. That big pine tree you see back there is one of the many mature trees that you will find on this property. There is some beautiful timber. We're looking westerly. You can actually see the end of the easement road and the cul-de-sac off in the distance. So where we are is we're on the private driveway for this property. This is not part of the easement road. So you could put up a gate or a cable if you wanted between the cul-de-sac and this property. It's a turnaround driveway, so you pull right through. You don't have to back up. It's awesome. So that water container and that flatbed fifth wheel trailer are not included. That interesting looking horse trailer, that black one with the fifth wheel hookup, is included. There's a little garden shed that's included. And the black horse trailer was at some point set up as a little cabin. I mean, it's pretty rough, but it's kind of cool. It could be brought back to life. And then, of course, you can see the main cabin has the covered porch, has a deck in the back, which you can't see because of the timber. Oh, good. Aerial photo. So you can see where the cabin is, kind of toward the south side. The white dashed line is the driveway. From the cabin, it slopes down as you go north. You've got that little creek bed crossing over, and then it kind of slopes up and then down again as you go north from the creek bed. In a moment, we'll have a topo map, which might be helpful. It's 99% wooded, other than some really beautiful pasture or yard area, meadow area right by the cabin. We think this was an old homestead, probably dating back a couple hundred years. There's the topo map, which is showing what we basically mentioned, where the road comes in. It's a large level area. That's probably why they picked that for a homestead whenever they did. As you go north from there, it slopes down. You've got the little creek bed. Cross over that, it actually goes up and then down again. There might be another creek bed running diagonally across the north side. We're not sure about that, but feel free to check it out and explore. Okay, so looking down on the main yard area, very pretty little meadows. I mean, we found massive timber in the yard. I mean, trees that 250-year-old timber, which probably only survived without being logged because they were in the yard. And this was a homestead and has been. The cabin itself was probably built, I don't know, in the 90s, I would guess. Not much older than that because it has metal exterior and metal roof, newer looking metal, relatively newer. Okay, so now we're looking northerly. That clear diagonal line you see is the power, which comes right in basically to the west side of the property. And the grayish gravel road you see is the easement road, gravel easement road. We're looking westerly back toward the county road. So very private rural development. This happens to be tract 8 at the White Ranch project. I think there are about 20 tracts. This one is at the very end of the easement road. So like we said, it's the most private by far. So now we're looking northerly. If you see that somewhat cleared line toward the right side of the photo, that's probably the east line of this property. There's probably some type of fence there. The north line might be fenced, but the west and south side are not. But this tract is surveyed with the corners marked. So you're covered there. The guys have found all kinds of trails. They didn't explore it too much, but they did find a trail that goes north from one of the meadows. And one of the guys said he found a little spring somewhere along the trail, so that might be fun to check out and explore. The cabin was basically used as a hunting cabin for I would imagine, since it was built. We do have a video of the inside, so you can check that out as well. But, I mean, what an awesome property. So private. Not only is power on site, but it's run to the cabin and it's hooked up. Actually, when our guys were out there working on the road and whatnot, they stayed in that cabin for several nights, and they said it was really cool. So you can see that black horse trailer that is kind of converted into a cabin, and then the cabin is the red deal. That little white deal is just a little garden shed, which is backed by 2 of the monster trees in the yard. So looking northerly, so you can see, I think we'll do a full flyover. This is a pretty long video. The land slopes down gradually as you go north. We'll get to that little creek bed. That's probably the trail right there that one of the guys was on. I mean, they've explored very little of this property, but often if they're out there working and they want to take a little break, they'll go, you know, check out a trail or just monkey around a little bit, essentially. As far as the little creek, it was running when we were out there. Best to assume it's not year-round because the vast majority of little creeks and streams or whatnot in the Ozarks do dry up at some point. But like we said, it was running when we were out there. I don't know if we got it on the drone video, but we'll see in a moment. It can be really hard to see a little stream or creek from the air, so I'm not... I'm really thinking we probably don't have it in this video, but you never know. That pasture you see off to the right is on the property to the east. So you can see that cleared line running up and down across the screen. That's going to be essentially the east line of this property, and I would say it's probably fenced. Oh, actually, look at that. That might be the little stream right there. Okay, cool. So we actually did get that on the drone video. We knew it was running because the guys had told us that, but there you can see it on the video there. You can actually see the water going through. Very cool, very cool. Nice little bonus on the property. So that's on the far east side. I'm not sure if that's over the border or not. Oh, wait a minute. There's another little creek. So what's what here? Oh, I hope we go check that one out too. That looks bigger than the first one. So like we mentioned earlier, when you're looking at that topo map, it almost looks like there would be another creek going diagonally on the northern part of the property, and that might be that one. That's interesting. So anytime you have any kind of creek bed or stream bed, you're going to have some really cool rock features. I mean, in this area, the creeks and streams are old, so thousands of years old. You're going to have some really cool different rock features and fossils and all kinds of neat stuff. So as we look northerly, the property's on the left side of what appears to be a fence line there. We don't know the neighbor to the east. I think it's a fairly large farm. So now heading northerly from about where where one of the creeks was. You will find some beautiful timber on this property. Probably mostly hardwood trees, but we know there are some nice big pines as well. So that's pretty cool to see. The area is gorgeous. This is about 5 miles from the White Ranch Conservation Area, which is over 6,000 acres of land that's generally open for hunting and camping and picnicking and all that good stuff. There's a cool river that runs through it, and you can fish and swim and kayak. There's a public shooting range there, which is really neat. If you're looking for a larger lake, actually Norfolk Lake is only about 30 miles from the property, and that is a massive lake. Okay, now we're looking southerly. Over to the left, you can see kind of that cleared fence line, so the property sits on the right side of that. So as we're looking here, if you're looking at that fence line on the left, the property essentially goes to the right for about 800 feet. I mean, it is big. It's roughly 800 feet east to west and about 2,500 feet north to south. And as we mentioned, it is surveyed. It's a full 50 acres. So heading back southerly. Man, you could spend days exploring this property. The wildlife out here, of course, is phenomenal. White-tailed deer and turkey. Extremely private. Having the creek or creeks, of course, as a water source is always helpful for the wildlife. We have no idea how many trails are on this property. I mean, they just explored a tiny bit. That looks like a pretty good trail right there in the center. Maybe a small clearing. That looks like a trail. Or a creek bed. Could be one of the creek beds, except that, there is a little water. Okay. Down at the bottom of the screen toward the center, there was some water. You just can't see where it's flowing. We're spinning around. I'm getting disoriented. I mean, we're definitely over the property, but I'm not sure where. I think we're looking southerly. Awesome tract. I mean, anytime you've got an end-of-the-road tract, it's just incredible. And this one being so large. It's very rare that we get a property of this size. And I don't think we've ever had a property of this size that had a little cabin on it. There is an old drilled well next to the cabin, but it's not hooked to the cabin. We have no idea about the condition of the well, but it's there. It probably served the previous structure. Okay, so that's essentially the cul-de-sac at the end of the easement road. So as we look to the east, you can see kind of the wide part of the road. That was or is what they're making into the cul-de-sac, the turnaround. And that way you don't have to worry about people needing to drive onto your property to turn around. So since this is past the end of the cul-de-sac, you could put up a gate, you could put up a cable. Now we're back where we started. And I don't know where we're going from here. I guess we're going down into the yard. Whoa. So we must have had one of our more experienced, I guess, drone pilots that day. We don't normally get right down into the trees like that. So those two massive trees are some of the old trees, the very, very old trees. Those, I think we have a different video showing those trees, but they are like 40 or 50 inches in diameter, so over 200 years old. So that's one of the reasons that it's pretty obvious this was an ancient homestead, is otherwise you just don't find trees of that size. And there are a couple more actually down in that direction of those monster trees. And there's the cabin. And so that flatbed trailer, of course, is not included. The excavator is not included. There's a water tank up there that's not included. The guys were using that to clean out the tracks on the equipment. But that black trailer you see off behind that big pine tree, that is included, and that's been somewhat converted into a cabin. Definitely needs some work, but it might be a fun project. So there's the cabin. You can see the little porch on the back, probably usable if you replace some boards. And right there in the center of the photo, below center, that was the drilled well. It is the drilled well, but it originally, I'm sure, had some kind of well house, and that's been removed. But the well itself, I mean, I guess you don't know until you get a well guy out there, but it's still capped off. It doesn't look like anybody's monkeyed with it. Whoop, and that's it. Awesome property. If you have any questions, let us know. If this one is sold, and odds are it will sell fast, just please get a hold of us. We'll let you know what's coming up. Tell us what you're looking for, and we can hopefully give you the inside scoop on upcoming properties. Call us, email us. We definitely hope to hear from you.